I was not alone anymore. I heard his heartbeat in the walls. It wasn't mine. It wasn't the building's, it was his. Every night louder, closer. I knew then he was watching, and I couldn't run. I found his reflection in the mirror. But it wasn't him. It was a faceless shadow whispering my name. I tried to scream, but my throat was frozen. I knew then I was trapped, and he was inside my mind. I opened the door to find his hand on the knob, cold and pulsing, whispering promises of belonging I couldn't refuse. I woke to his breath in my ear, warm and wet, whispering secrets I didn't know. I tried to move, but my body was his now. Every pulse, every breath, every thought. I tried to scream, but my throat was sealed. His voice crawled into my mind, promising peace in exchange for silence. I couldn't fight him. I was his now, and he was inside me. I found his hand in my own, cold and pulsing, as he pulled me into the dark, whispering promises I couldn't refuse. I traced the sound to the wall, my fingers trembling as I pressed against the cold, pulsing surface. It was alive, and it was waiting for me to listen. I moved into this apartment, thinking it was quiet, but every night I heard his heartbeat in the walls, slow and steady, like a second heart in the house. I tried to ignore it, but the sound grew louder. It wasn't just a noise, it was a presence, pressing against my ears, whispering through the walls like it knew me. One night, I followed the sound to the hallway. The door was closed, but I could feel his breath on my neck, warm and wet, like he was right behind me. I knocked, but there was no answer. The sound of his heartbeat echoed louder, and I realized he wasn't just in the walls, he was in the house, in the air, in my mind. I tried to leave, but the door wouldn't budge. The sound grew louder, and I knew I wasn't alone. He was here, and he was waiting for me to listen. I finally gave in, stepping closer to the wall. His heartbeat pulsed through the concrete, and I realized he was inside me now, and I couldn't escape. I found a tooth in the trash, sharp and fresh, with my name carved into it. It wasn't mine, I screamed, but no one heard me. The walls were closing in, and his heartbeat was louder than ever. I tried to call the police, but my phone died. The only signal was a faint, pulsing light from the wall. I pressed harder, and the concrete cracked, revealing a small, pulsing red eye staring back at me. I ran to the bathroom, but the mirror showed something wrong. His face was in the glass, smiling, and his eyes were the same red color as the wall. I shattered the mirror, and the blood splattered across the floor, matching his heartbeat. I tried to sleep, but the walls were breathing. I heard his voice whispering in my ear, telling me I was already his. I couldn't move, and the heartbeat was now inside my chest, pounding like a second heart. I tried to escape, but the door was locked from the outside. The walls were alive, and his voice grew louder, promising pain if I didn't stay. I couldn't scream, and I couldn't move. I was his now. I realized he was in every sound, every breath, every heartbeat. I was his, and he was mine. The walls were his body, and I was inside forever. What if he's been watching you all along? Write your theory in the comments. What if he's been watching you all along? Your words could save someone else. I found his fingerprints on the mirror, cold and wet, like he'd just touched it. I couldn't look away. I tried to call the police, but my phone died. The silence was louder than any scream. I left the window open, hoping to hear something. Instead, I heard his voice in the wind. I started to notice the smell of iron in the air, like blood, but no one was bleeding. I began to see his face in the reflections, but it was always different, always shifting. I tried to leave, but the door was locked from the outside. I was trapped in his world. I found his fingerprints on the kitchen window, smeared like a warning. He's been here longer than I thought. The sound of his heartbeat grew louder, like a drum in my skull. It wasn't just in the walls, it was in my bones. I left a note on the door, asking him to leave. He answered with a laugh that echoed through the hallway like a ghost. The hallway mirror showed his face, but it wasn't the same as before. He was watching me, waiting for me to break. I tried to call the police, but the line was dead. My phone screen showed a message, "You're not alone." I'm not sure if he's real or just a reflection of my fear, but I know he's been here, and I'm not leaving until I find out why. I'm not leaving until I find out why. Like, subscribe, share, and comment with what stayed with you. His heartbeat is still in the walls. I found his footprints in the dust, fresh and wet, leading to the wall. The air felt heavy, as if something unseen was watching from the shadows. I traced them with my finger, and the wall grew warm beneath my touch. A strange hum vibrated through the air, like a distant heartbeat. The wall cracked open, revealing a tiny glowing eye watching from the dark. It pulsed faintly, like a heartbeat trapped in stone. I screamed, but no sound came out. My throat felt sealed with ice, and the air around me grew colder, as if the walls were breathing. The eye blinked once, and the wall sealed itself with a sound like a heartbeat. The air vibrated with a low, resonant hum echoing through the room. I found a mirror in the hallway, and my reflection had no pupils. The glass shimmered with a strange, otherworldly glow, as if it were alive. I tried to rip it out, but my hands wouldn't move. I was paralyzed, trapped in a silent, suffocating void of fear. The mirror showed me something I never saw before, a face in the wall. It stared back, its expression unreadable, yet filled with knowing. It smiled, and I felt my soul being pulled into the wall like a thread. The air thickened, and the walls seemed to pulse with a slow, deliberate rhythm. I tried to scream again, but my mouth was full of dust and silence. The walls had sealed my voice, leaving only the sound of my own breath. The wall began to pulse, like a second heart beating in my chest. The rhythm matched my own, as if the walls were now part of me. I realized he's not just in the walls, he's inside me now. The walls had become a part of me, and I could feel his presence in every breath. I found his reflection in the mirror, but it wasn't mine. It moved before I did. I tried to scream, but my throat felt sealed. I tried to sleep with the door locked, but the walls hummed louder. It felt like my ribs were vibrating from the inside. I found a key under my door, but it didn't belong to me. It fit the lock perfectly, like it was meant to be there all along. I used the key to open the door, but it led to a sealed room. The air was thick, and the walls were covered in old, dried blood. I found a journal in the corner, written in my hand. The entry spoke of a presence that feeds on fear, and it had already begun. I realized the journal was a trap. The last entry said, "He's inside you now. You can't escape." I'm still here, waiting for the end.